Before we get started today, I want to say thank you for listening. It means the world to us. And I have a favor to ask. If you enjoy content about Patek Philippe, if you enjoy the stories behind the watches, if you enjoy learning about vintage watches, please take a second to hit that subscribe button. It truly makes a huge difference. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. We want to know about your Grail watch and even what surprised you most about this interview today. So let's get started. Just a brief intro of Mike Nouveau. He didn't start posting on TikTok until 2022, and it didn't take long for him to dominate Watchtok, as we call it, before becoming a full-time vintage watch dealer in 2018. Is that fair to say, 2018?
I was still DJing, which was my main job for 15 years up until COVID, but there was crossover between the vintage watch dealing.
Okay, excellent.
I was selling real watches from 2018 on.
All right, I'm going to ask you a bunch of follow-up questions on that.
Sure.
Because the fact that DJ, fashion, and watches all together, that's intriguing. All right, so you started walking up to strangers and asking what's on your wrist, and this quickly went viral on TikTok. And as interest grew and questions poured in, Mike stepped in front of the camera and shared his experience, his knowledge, and his personality, and he brought that all to the world of vintage horology. You've literally introduced a new generation to vintage watch collecting through social media. Over 500,000 followers on TikTok, and you've been called the king of Watchtok. Your authenticity, your enthusiasm, and knowledge, you're giving so much to the community. You're teaching people, and you're also entertaining at the same time. And I think this little discussion we're going to have today is really going to encourage and inform a new generation. So no pressure.
Thank you.
Welcome, Mike, to the podcast.
Thank you so much, John. I'm a big fan of the pod, and like I said earlier, I think I've listened to almost every episode.
I really appreciate that, because some of them are long. I mean, sometimes we go like an hour and a half.
That's totally fine. I like it.
So, Mike, for those that might not know you beyond what they see on TikTok, how do you describe what you do?
Easiest way to say it is I'm a vintage watch dealer, but I'm also a collector. I'm kind of like an obsessive, and I'm also a content creator, around watches and watch culture.
And you described before you have this background in fashion, and you're a practicing DJ, if we'd call that. So what was your first introduction? Let's go back to the fashion world and tell us the backstory of becoming a DJ.
Okay, so it really started with kind of skateboarding. Skateboarding is what brought me into everything. I was a skater, so, this was mid-90s, so you dress like a skater.
Did you grow up in the city?
I grew up in the suburbs in Nyack, New York, in Rockland County. That's where I grew up, so not far. And we would spend a lot of time coming to the city to go skateboarding, to go to Supreme when new drops came out. I mean, again, this is late 90s at this point. With coming into New York City, specifically the East Village, there's a big fashion presence and something I kind of like, I picked up an interest. Not something I grew up with, but I picked up an interest in fashion. Kind of niche fashion. It kind of parallels my interest in specific watches nowadays is, got into some fashion brands that are hard to get. You have to really find collectors and kind of dealers of specific brands, stuff that's not necessarily sold online. I was kind of in that sort of world of fashion for a long time. And at the same time, I started DJing. And, nightlife in New York City, there's obviously a big crossover with fashion. So I kind of positioned myself in the fashion world as like a fashion DJ. So I would do a lot of runway shows, after parties, store openings, also normal nightclubs. But, my crowd was very much like a fashion crowd.
When did you start noticing watches on wrist?
Actually, my interest in watches came pretty late. I mean, no one in my family had watches, no interest, nothing. I would not have been able to tell you anything about Patek Philippe when I was 21. I would have known nothing. So it was much later. I guess how old am I now? I'm trying to do the math of when I first, I think I was like 30 really, which is pretty late.
That's late for the game.
Yeah, yes. That's pretty late to get started. And of course I fell into vintage Rolex, like 4-digit Rolex. And I was introduced to me by like a guy in this kind of like niche men's fashion world. I didn't really have any money. I was able to buy a Rolex 1675 as my first watch. It was my only watch for many years, but I was still on Rolex forums, vintage Rolex forums, all the forums. I was a big forum guy. I was not into Hodinkee wasn't even on my radar, to be honest. Like, I didn't really follow watch news. I was only interested in like chatting with other like nerdy collectors. And that's where, it really snowballed from there. And I was just a collector for many years until I started kind of stumbling upon, kind of deals for watches that I would see, because I was on these message boards all day long and somebody would post something for sale. And I knew enough to be like, okay, well, this is $5,000 under market price. Maybe I should pick this up and try to sell. And that's kind of how it started. I think that's probably how a lot of people get started.
Did you collect anything as a kid? We'll start as a little kid.
Sure.
What'd you collect?
Oh, comic books, baseball cards. Yeah. I collected Simpsons mercandise.
No way.
Yes, I was very, very into the Simpsons.
What's the holy grail of Simpsons collectibles?
Man, I don't know. Back then, there was like, it's so funny we're talking about this. Up until like 1995, there was like the only Simpsons merchandise that existed was from when the show first came out, and it was a huge craze. And like Burger King put out this was stuff from 1990. So I was like a little kid, and there was basically merchandise from the very first boom of The Simpsons season 1, and then there was nothing until like 1995 or 1996, and DVDs started coming out, and then they did a huge merchandise push. But back then, I haven't thought about this in so long. There was this like the show was very big in Australia, The Simpsons, and there was an Australian themed Simpsons episode that was a big episode, and they released merchandise just around that one episode in Australia. And that merchandise I remember being very rare and nearly impossible to find. And this was the birth of eBay too. So this is like, you'd be lucky you would type The Simpsons into eBay and there'd be 12 things and that'd be it. There's probably 10 million now.
So that's like kind of where your collecting bug
definitely
started.
Yes.
All right. If you could sit down with any character from The Simpsons and have a chat, who would it be?
Oh, probably Homer.
Yeah. Homer?
Yeah, he's
a legend.
He was my guy for sure.
So how do you go from DJing to blowing up on TikTok? Like, what happened?
So, and there was, when TikTok first came out, I wasn't interested at all. I didn't download it. It wasn't really on my radar.
In what year did it come out? I don't even know.
Before COVID.
Okay.
It's
like 7 years ago.
28. I don't even know, because I wasn't on it until 2022.
Got it.
I had a few friends in nightlife and DJ friends who kind of embraced it and used it, and it seemed to be working out really well. What I mean by working out is like they were getting a lot of attention and followers, and that equaled bigger gigs and bigger paychecks and stuff like that. So I kind of had a group of friends that were on it, doing well. They were in fashion, whatever, and they were kind of starting to get invited to stuff. And a few of them were pushing me like, you should do watch stuff on TikTok because nobody's doing it. I was like, I don't know, who's gonna be watching this stuff? I don't know. So eventually, one of them gave me a good idea to, there were these street interview videos. And they said, what if you go up to someone and ask talk about their watch? I'm like, no one's going to do that on the street. So on that same day, I started an account. I went and I bought like a little microphone, which I didn't need, but I bought one. And I interviewed the first, person. Actually, the first person was somebody that I knew, and they did it. And the video popped off immediately. Like hundreds of thousands of views on the first day. And I was like, is this good? And my friends were like, this is like, don't get used to this. So the first 30 videos all did like exceptionally well. And like it just snowballed very, very quickly from there. I started getting DMs immediately saying, oh, I have this watch for sale. Do you know anything about this watch? My grandfather has these 20 Patek Philippe's. Are they worth anything? Like, I was like, wow, there's something here. There's something here.
What was the most, like the weirdest or the most unexpected DM that you ever received on TikTok?
Good question. Let's see. I mean, I get, anytime there's like some kind of celebrity DM, it's kind of like, wow. I'm trying to think if there's anything really, I got a DM, cluing me into, I think this watch is sitting, like I saw this watch sitting in this random shop, and I think it's like something really valuable. I'm like, no way. Like, send me a picture. He sends me a picture. I'm like, this is so blurry. You can't tell anything from this. And then, there's been a few instances where a situation starts like that and ends with like, wow, I need to go track this watch down. I need to go grab this watch because a follower just DM'd me a picture through a glass display in Tennessee or something. And I'm like, they really found something. I need to go get it. And they're only sending it to me because they only know me because on TikTok.
And they feel like they really know
I'm their only point of reference for vintage watches.
That is great.
Yeah.
I have to tell you a personal story.
Please.
I have two teenage daughters. one day, it wasn't even that long ago. It was probably like 6 months ago. One of my daughters came to me and she goes, "Do you know Mike Nouveau?" and I was like, "Yeah, of course." And she's like, "He just spoke to Emma Chamberlain."
Oh, that's so
like,
funny.
"That is so cool." And she said, like, she doesn't follow my content.
Yeah.
But she follows your content, which is very interesting from a generational perspective. So in her honor, let's talk about Emma Chamberlain in that interview.
Hey, what's your name?
Emma Chamberlain.
Emma Chamberlain. Can I see what's on the wrist, please? Gorgeous. Can you tell me a little bit about this?
This is the Cartier Benoit.
Oh, yeah. That was a good video.
Tell us the backstory.
That was at a Cartier event in Miami. And what's so funny is like, there are certain things that I just have complete gaps about. I had no idea who she was before that week. Like, this was not somebody that was on my radar. There's a lot of knowledge gaps like that, culture gaps that I have. And, you know, I knew she kind of, I guess not, I don't know if she's an ambassador for Cartier or what, but we were at this Cartier event. I was like, "Can I do a video?" And she said, "Yeah, sure." She's very nice. And we did a video. I can't remember. It was a Panthère, I believe she was wearing. Actually, was it? I honestly can't remember what she was wearing, to be honest. And yeah, of course it did well because she has a gigantic fan base.
Of
and
course.
She's very sweet. And obviously she's great on camera. I forgot all about that until you mentioned it.
No, I
It's so
admit, I
funny.
never heard of her before, but I was recently in LA and my daughter's like, "We have to go to Chamberlain's Coffee." So we went like way out of our way. She's like 2 coffee shops now.
Yeah.
And I have to say the coffee wasn't really good.
No?
So I know, hey,
Sorry, Emma.
if you're listening, let's talk about coffee. And you could be a guest on the show and we'll talk about coffee and watches. That'd be
Perfect.
great. So, I mean, your street interviews are great. You go up to people. Sometimes you try to, that time you tried to buy a watch off a guy's wrist.
Yeah, that video did really well.
Did you get the watch?
No, we didn't get the watch in the end. And I ended up becoming friends with that guy, and I didn't know who he was.
It was just random?
Yeah. It was fully organic.
Yeah.
What's funny is I almost didn't post that video because in the end, we didn't buy the watch. So it was like kind of a failure. So what's the point of doing this like a negotiation video when you don't buy the watch?
Exactly.
And I remember I waited until I had like a slow day with nothing else to post, and I posted it and it went crazy.
So what's your goal like when you're filming? Is it to entertain, to document?
For sure.
Both something else?
Both those things. There's also, I think, something people like about my videos is it's really like a slice of New York City that you kind of don't often see. Like a lot of times you'll see street interviews in New York City. It's just, 10 questions and that's it. I feel like I'm kind of really showing a real like specific community in New York City, us hanging out like with no real agenda, documenting it, like funny quips, good banter, interesting watches. So I think videos like that kind of do really well.
And I think that's why I enjoy your content too. I left the city, 20 years ago. Now suburban.
Yeah.
But I kind of miss like New York City watch culture.
Well, you can come hang out with us anytime you want.
I'd love to. That pizza place.
Yeah, Scars, please come. I brought Eric Wynn there.
That would be a lot of fun. So your content is spontaneous. I mean, this is a secret sauce to what you do. But what's your most viewed TikTok stream? And was it a spontaneous moment?
No, so my most viewed is me by far getting a custom strap from start to finish from Jean Rousseau.
So I have a big problem with my new Cartier. It's on a really ugly strap that doesn't fit. So I went to Jean Rousseau and they said I could film the entire process start to finish of getting a made to measure strap.
Yes.
And I had done one other video there without any permission. I went in, I was literally just getting a strap made for myself for a Cartier. And I recorded what they probably saw me recording something. They didn't ask any questions. And I put the video up. The video did well. And then I think maybe they followed me or something, or maybe they told me they had saw and they liked it, or some people mentioned that they had seen it. So I was like, can I come in and film everything start to finish, like what you normally don't let the clients see? And they said yes. So I filmed, I kind of went over the top and got a strap with every bell and whistle that they offer. And it took a long time to edit because there's so much raw footage. Because normally it takes 6 or 8 weeks for them to make a strap. I had them do it all in one afternoon. So it was a lot to edit. And I remember I posted it, and like I think it was right around Thanksgiving. I think it was around Thanksgiving. I don't remember. I got into on a train to go see my family, and a friend was mine was like, it's at 100,000 views in the first 30 minutes. I was like, what? And then it hit. Now it's at like I think 15 million views or something, which is a lot on TikTok.
Custom ordering a strap
because it's really like that type of video like that's very understandable for anybody. You don't need to know anything about watches. You're literally starting with a piece of leather, and then it ends with this beautiful product. So it's very understandable for someone who doesn't care about watches, who doesn't know about watches.
I love that. I mean, you've had a number of celebrities like Emma Ratajkowski.
Yeah.
I think you had like millions of people watch that. But having a strap made brings 15 million.
Yeah, because it's really interesting for everybody. Anybody can understand it.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
All right, I want to follow up a bit on like you mentioned like the NYC, like the subculture.
Yeah.
Which I have to say, it's like an undertone of all of your content is like, what's Mike up to? Who's he talking to? And you're really tapped into the New York watch scene. Why do you think most mainstream media misses this? And like, what is what you're doing? Why is it so special? Why do people love it?
I mean, again, it gives a glimpse into New York City. I think a lot of people enjoy New York City content. There, it's kind of like an aspirational place. I think a lot of watch content is very nerdy. My content is nerdy too, but sometimes I'm hanging out with, cool people and everybody. I think I struggle to think of anyone who does something interesting, whether it's art, fashion, music, film, that doesn't like watches. I think
that's true.
I think most guys in a metropolitan city, I mean, women too, of course, you get a little bit of success or money in whatever you do and you buy a watch. I think it's extremely common. And obviously most people don't just buy one, it's something that's a real thing to fall into. And, in New York City, there's every creative person in the world is here. And like everyone, it's very common to be interested in watches. I mean, if it was, somewhere, if you're in whatever, you live near Pebble Beach, everyone's into golf, I'm sure, or cars or whatever. Here, it's like, everyone, we don't really buy property. We don't buy cars necessarily in New York City. We have watches, and there's a lot of collectors here from every like slice of life.
Now, I get this question often, but I want your answer.
Sure.
You're now a native New Yorker. What are 3 must-visit horological stops for people visiting New York City, in many cases for the first time, or they've been here a million times? Where do they have to go if they're interested in watches?
So that's actually really funny because I struggle to find places. One of the most common questions I get is, I'm in New York City for a week. Where can I find these? I'm like, there's not really anywhere. There's no brick and mortar here like there is in Tokyo or Hong Kong. You have Chen's in Chinatown, of course, which I film a lot of content at. He has great stuff.
Which I've never been to and
we should go. We should go after this.
Let's do it.
But he has like, he'll have 10 Rolexes, a Patek, a couple of Cartiers, and like, there's also like, of course, there's some crap there as well. But that's definitely a cool spot. Where else can I send you? The Horological Society of New York's cool, of course.
Great library.
Where else? I don't know where else to send you. It's actually pretty nuts.
That's amazing.
This has got to be one of the most important watch cities that has no watch destinations, really. I'm sitting here struggling to think of anywhere, really.
It's incredible. I mean, the brands all have their boutiques.
Yeah, of course.
But there's really...
the Cartier mansion is cool.
Yes. But you can't, anyone could just walk in, but you're not going to have an amazing experience or find in most cases.
Right.
Unless you have a pre-existing relationship.
Right, you're not going to get offered a crash or anything like that.
Exactly. Wow. New York City. So, as you know, I'm in New Jersey. When's the last time you were in New Jersey?
Last night.
Really?
Yep.
I thought you were going to say years ago.
Nope, last night.
What brings you to New Jersey?
I'll tell you what, we went to Parks Casino last night.
No way.
In Bensalem, Pennsylvania. And of course, you drive through Jersey to get there. We stopped at a Chick-fil-A. And
see, a Chick-fil-A.
That's so funny. We're there last night.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So, all right. A couple questions about, more about like vintage and your style. So you kind of described how you got into fashion, and then vintage kind of informed your fashion choices. And did that cross over into your watch aesthetic and what you like collecting?
I wouldn't say. So a lot of the brands that I was into in fashion, in men's fashion, again, it was kind of like niche sort of avant-garde brands that were very hard to find. They were traded amongst people. You could find the best stuff in Japan, of course. And there was message boards dedicated to it. And I think there's a lot of crossover. There's a lot of parallels to watches, because now the watches I like are hard to find and you can't get them, and you're buying them in Japan and you're trading with other nerds on the internet. So I think,
Do you collect vintage fashion at all?
Not so much.
No.
Not so much, yeah.
So you mentioned Supreme. Like, what other like brands that you collect, like, or have collected in the past?
I was into Supreme when I was very, very young. A young skateboarder when there was just the one store on Lafayette Street. I was into Rick Owens, Comme des Garçons, Paul Harnden. A lot of these brands are quite collectible. And what's funny is those three brands are brands that kind of like have created their own universe, sort of like a Patek Philippe universe. It's really like a kind of, they started
community.
A big community around all those brands.
Before we dive into some Patek Philippe questions, I just have to ask.
Sure.
When you're just walking around the city or even when traveling, do people that you don't know approach you and say, I follow your content?
Yes.
Can you share some stories around that? Any awkward moments?
Yeah, there's awkward. It's awkward if they are awkward.
Okay.
Yeah, if they're like, hey, I like your videos. Great, cool, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Oh, check out what I'm wearing. I'm like, yeah, awesome, great. There's some real awkward. I mean, there's people like, are you the guy from TikTok? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, okay.
End of conversation.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks. Most people are cool, especially in New York City. I think there's kind of an understanding that, I'm no celebrity, of course, but you might see some people you recognize from social media if you walk around New York City long enough, obviously. But yeah, most people who approach me are very cool. It doesn't, it's once a day.
And knowing you, I was going to ask if you're like, do you have to be like on character like during the day? But I mean, you're you.
I'm me. Really.
Always you.
Yeah,
and that's the
true.
authenticity of it. So is there anything that people assume about you from what they see on TikTok that's completely untrue?
I mean, I think people might assume that I'm just some, fly-by-night, guy who's looking for clout in the watch world. But I'm really actually like, I think people who follow me know this, but people who might just see me passing, I'm completely obsessed with vintage watches. And I think it probably comes off in my videos, but it's not just like, oh, you're into these things that are hyped. It's completely taken over my life for many years now. The vintage watches, it's all I really think about. And people ask, what are your other hobbies? I'm like, there's none. I like to cook, but other than that, it's like every it's every day I'm looking for watches or buying watches, selling watches, making videos about watches. So yeah, people, I don't know what people think.
Just be you, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think like, we've known each other in passing, and then we've started to talk more recently over the years. But I just want to go back. It was a conversation a year or two ago where you reached out, you DM'd me asking about Cartier signature on an ellipse.
Yeah.
And your follow-up questions, I want to look back at that
Sure.
conversation. I instantly gained respect for your knowledge and your inquisitiveness. And yes, I knew you as a TikTok star. I was like, wow, Mike knows what he's talking about. He's asking questions that seasoned collectors aren't asking. And our next set of questions is going to be around Patek Philippe. So I just want to say, wow, you know what you're talking about.
Thank you. It means a lot coming from you.
A true student of all things Patek Philippe. And yes, you interested in Cartier and other brands. We'll talk about that too, which is completely cool. But collectability, we're focused on Patek Philippe. And you've earned my respect in a big way.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
With your inquisitiveness and scholarship in all things Patek Philippe.
Thank you.
I think that really shows, and it's bringing more people into our world. Like, for example, there was a 96 you recently found in Paris.
Yeah.
Day one, treasure hunting in Paris. I already found something incredible. I've never seen a set like this before. This is a full set, 1930s, Patek Philippe, Calatrava reference 96.
And I understand you sold it already. I was too slow. But you understood. You were talking about the importance of the original buckle, the Guillermin buckle. Not everyone even knows about French hallmarks.
Yes.
So you are ahead of the curve in scholarship over most people. You also understood where the certificate was hidden in the box, which I have to say is my greatest pleasure. When someone asks me about their family watch, sometimes they have to pull that silk back and they have a little surprise. So tell me about that watch.
I mean, there's nothing more exciting than finding a kind of a lesser known hallmark on a watch.
Oh my God.
It's very, very exciting.
When I see JG, I go nuts.
Oh, for sure. No, this is, somebody reached out and offered. Someone I've purchased something from before reached out and said, I have this 96. It's actually a full set. And of course, one of the things I talk about most is how much I don't care about box and papers.
Yes.
But when you're talking about a 1935 Patek Philippe with the box and the papers, it's pretty crazy. And the buckle for me was the best part. And it was very honest condition. It was but not even close to mint. It had both hallmarks. It wasn't close to mint. A lot of information on the inside case back. It had the French hallmarks, import hallmarks. It had the Calatrava cross stamp, which I believe was only till the late 30s and then starting again in the 80s or 90s.
Stopped for a few years.
Yeah. So that was cool. A lot of, watchmaker marks from decades past. It was just a very cool, extremely the dial was not even close to perfect, but it was just so amazing and complete. And I was like, I'm buying.
Can you say if you sold to a private or to a dealer?
I sold it to a private.
Okay.
Yeah.
And someone had a relationship on TikTok with you?
Someone
you know already?
It's someone I had sold one watch to, but I had never met in person. They happened to be in Paris at the same time.
Excellent.
Yeah.
What was the first Patek Philippe that you ever bought as a dealer? Like the first one that you owned? And second question, do you have any in your personal collection?
Yes. So the first, I've told this story before, the first real watch deal I did was for a gold 3700 Nautilus from the original owner that was posted on a Facebook group. Mm-hmm. It was posted by a guy who had like a strip mall jewelry store in a different state. And they posted a terrible photo, like your grandfather taking a photo, saying, someone brought this into my shop and they want me to polish it. And I thought maybe I shouldn't. Can anyone tell me about this? And the comments were like, it's fake, it's fake, it's fake, it's fake. Oh, it's the quartz version. It's not I'm looking at this picture. I'm like, it's a bad picture, but this is a 3700 for sure. I messaged a guy, I said, what's the story? He said, this guy, the local guy, brought this watch in. He's going to sell it to his friend. So he wanted to polish it. And I said, do you know anything about the numbers? And he said, he was selling it for a lot. It wasn't like I'm just selling it for $5,000. They're selling it for not far from market price. And I said, is there a way, like, can I make an offer on this watch and I'll give you, the shop owner, some money and I will pay this guy more? And surprisingly, he was like, yeah, he'll do it. I was like, really?
All right.
He's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm like, I'll fly there tomorrow. Meanwhile, I didn't have any money, so I had to figure that part out. I was like, I'll fly there tomorrow, but I need to know this is real. So I'm about to click purchase on delta.com on this flight. So I need to know, like, this is really going to happen. He's like, yeah. I Googled the business. I called the number that was on Google, not just the number he gave me. And it was him. And I contacted a couple people, and someone, it was Cameron Barr, said, go get it and we'll wire the money. I said, okay, great. I never sold a watch in my life. So I basically...
That's diving in the deep end with that
for
watch.
sure.
Yeah.
I mean...
It's real money.
Yeah, I think, there's not that much that can go wrong with what's clearly a real 3700. I mean, the dial's real. When I got there were so many links, you could have slid it off your hand without unbuckling it. Yeah. And so, we did the deal. I had to hang out all day waiting for this wire to come and clear. And that was the deal. And then I picked the watch up. I was a partner in the watch, and I got paid out when it sold. And it was like, I'm like, this is amazing. And that's how it kind of started. That was it was kind of a big watch for your first deal. And
this would be within the last 3-4 years, or
this is way before. This is 2018. I guess.
Oh, so this is way back. Before TikTok. Okay.
Before no one. Yeah, I didn't know anybody really.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then, what Patek Philippe's have you kept in your personal collection?
I have my 96, the steel Breguet dial 96. I have that Cartier signed Ellipse that
do have that.
I have that.
Was that a 3548?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I have the extract. Of course, it doesn't say Cartier on the extract, of course. What else in the personal collection? Are those the only two? I mean, I have stuff in stock. Of course, I have a lot of Pateks in stock, but I think those are the only two that are like my personal collection. And of course, for the right price, listen, I'm not going to say
that was my follow-up question. Would you sell that or the Cartier?
I would sell it. Listen, I didn't come from any money. I'm renting an apartment. It's like, it'd be irresponsible to get a real offer for this and say no.
I hear you. It's tough. Even in my personal collection, people show it. They're like, John, what do you have? And you show them the watches, and they're like, I want it.
Yeah.
And I've let go of pieces, which I will always regret selling. So
I don't think I've
ever. That's
regret.
part of it.
Yeah.
Being a dealer and also collecting is very a challenge.
Tricky, yeah.
So. What are the top trends you're seeing in the vintage Patek Philippe collecting world today?
I think the scholarship is growing, and people's knowledge, casual collectors' knowledge, is growing a lot. I think the most important thing is the acceptance of restoration.
Yes.
And if people were just realistic about what's been done to these dials, I think honestly this is the most important aspect of Patek Philippe is the engraved enamel dials made by, of course, Stern. These dials were made to be restored. They were made to be cleaned. That was the purpose of engraved enamel, as opposed to pad printed like with Rolex with, loom just sitting on top of a dial. These people hear, oh, it's restored. Oh, I'm not interested. Well, then you can't collect vintage Patek Philippe.
Yes.
And also the amount of people that say, oh, this watch is untouched, uncleaned, impossible.
Let's talk about unpolished.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that? I recently had a rant video.
I saw.
Where that was one of my main points is when the first question someone asked me, is it polished? The point is there's a lot of other things we need to discuss. And like what you just said about dials, like people just like turn off, but they're not asking the right questions. So let's talk about polishing.
Sure.
So what do you think of a polished watch that's 80 years old?
Oh, it's completely acceptable. And I'd be suspicious if it wasn't. If it was too perfect, I'd be suspicious. Listen, I do think it is possible that there's more unpolished or untouched watches. I accept the possibility that there's, people say, I think the number is 98% of these watches there's been some intervention. Mm-hmm. I think it could possibly be more than that, but you can't obsess over this. There's watches that Patek made 12 of, and if you think you're going to wait for an unpolished example, it's likely not going to happen.
It's true. I would agree with that 98 to 99%. There are barn finds. I might see one every 2 or 3 years, true barn finds. And you know what? It's always a pocket watch.
Yeah.
It's not a wristwatch. Because if that wristwatch went back for service at any time in its 80, 90-year history, odds are the dial was restored by Patek Philippe, at least cleaned. Odds are it was polished at some point, or the patina was removed at some point. So it's a highly sensitive topic, and everyone wants to have the grail. But if the grails don't exist, then what do you want to collect? I mean, then what are you going to do? Buy just modern Patek Philippe, which is just a different animal.
100%.
So
yeah.
Speaking of modern Patek Philippe, what do you think about it? Do you follow what's new, what's announced every year? Does it speak to you?
I follow the big releases, but no, it's not. I really don't. It's not hyper interesting to me. To me, it's like very far from what I'm interested in, honestly. Listen, if they offered me a Nautilus, I'd probably buy it, but it's not really. Doesn't do, and the sizing is so big. It's, most of these watches probably wouldn't even fit my wrist.
What's the perfect diameter of a wristwatch or vintage wristwatch in your opinion?
Probably 35.
35
to 36 probably is perfect.
It's like a 570 size.
Yeah,
just
for
right.
sure. Yeah. Okay. Obviously, I love the 96, which is 30 and a half or 31. I think it's a great size. If I really had to choose a size for the rest of my life, probably 35 or 36.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you wear the 96 often?
Yeah, very, very frequently, yeah.
So, archived?
Yes, I have the archive.
Confirmed Breguet?
Of course.
Story with the bracelet?
It's a Gay Frere bracelet from, it's definitely period correct. I found the original Gay Frere ad. I think the ad is from 1941, the exact bracelet. Don't know or don't care if it was born with the watch, likely not. And, it's completely era correct. It's steel. It's, it's a Gay Frere and Patek. It's a perfect union.
Of course.
Yeah.
And what year is it on the archive again?
41.
41. Yeah. So it's long signature. Yeah. Has the dial been restored in your opinion?
Definitely.
Good.
Of course.
I appreciate that honesty.
100%. It's impossible not. It's such a. I mean, people are used to Rolex is the problem.
Yes.
People start with Rolex, myself included, and they think anything touched, okay, a polish is fine. Anything done to the dial, no go. Which I guess is kind of the case.
Yes.
It's very, very hard to restore a Rolex dial, and usually it's done in a sneaky way. These were, again, like you said, mostly restored during a normal service with Patek Philippe. And if you knew how the dials were made, you could understand why it is acceptable to clean it or to, take the applied markers off, remove the top layer, clean, reapply. All of this is completely accepted. And I think if you look at the top 100 results for vintage Patek at auction, I think they've all been restored. I don't know if there's any unrestored ones.
That's very fair.
Yeah, I think every single real wristwatch that is sold for whatever top 100 auction results, they got 99 of them have been restored, cleaned, something. There's no doubt.
I'm thinking of like watches I've seen in my past, like the Haile Selassie Perpetual, the black dial. Like that dial showed some age. Yeah. When you have the black dials with the gilt signatures, it's sometimes they don't age so beautifully if your eye's not educated, but sometimes they just perfectly age. And it's almost those black dials from the 40s and 50s age in a way that is just
for sure
extraordinary.
I love them. They're hard to find.
I recently picked up a 1578 GM, one of the General Motors, with an original black dial. And I think this is the first one I've ever seen. It's just never been touched.
Yeah, wow.
And those are the watches you'll never forget.
Right.
And
they're probably going to come to you.
Yeah, I try to find them. It's not easy. I try.
Well, I mean, I think one of the biggest benefits is TikTok and social media is I'm the point of reference for a lot of young people who have watches. They only know to come to me. I think if you are a collector, if you're a business person, a celebrity, an athlete, and you're like, I know I want Patek. I know I do not want to get screwed. I've had bad experiences. You Google it, you find John Reardon. You must get amazing stuff.
We get some great messages every day.
Yeah.
So thank you for saying that and your support over the years, because we have new blood. I'm just saying we collectively coming into the vintage collecting world, and they don't even know where to start.
Right.
Because they hear horror stories
of course.
everywhere. And then they go to auction where everything, I'm being a little sarcastic, is presented as unpolished, original dial, never been touched. It's like, it's a Grail factory. I emphasize those words. It's really concerning of what people are being offered and sold. So education is key. It's what you're doing. It's what we're doing. And then people can make up their own minds of what they want to buy. There's a lot of choice out there, even beyond the world of Patek Philippe. You are also very, very well known in the world of vintage Cartier.
Yes.
Why do you love it so much?
There's something about it. First, I mean, what caught my eye originally, I was like, this is clearly such a important brand, a powerhouse brand, but nobody knows anything from before the 70s, really. I mean, people know the crash from the 60s, but it was amazing to me that it's the second highest selling watch brand. Yet there were years not that long ago in the 40s and 50s where they were making dozens or a couple low hundreds watches per year. That was pretty unbelievable. And of course the tank itself is an icon. I wanted a tank. It's not like I wanted the most rare tank. I wanted a tank. Once I got one, I was like, let me see what else I can find, what else I could dig up. And when you really start learning, and the fact that the stuff's like not really published on the internet is interesting too. Like there's no really serial list like with Rolex. There's no like, oh, this is Mark 1, Mark 2 from 1940. Like that doesn't really exist. So you really have to, it's really a word of mouth education system when it comes to vintage Cartier. And I just think it's extremely elegant, so beautiful, has so much amazing history. And I just think, it was underappreciated in the 2020s. Obviously, they've had waves of popularity. If you look at some old auction catalogs from the 80s, obviously, there's pricing then that today we're still not even matching because there was such a craze back then. So, this is not always underappreciated, but I think in the 2020s, it was sort of being ignored a little bit in the vintage watch world.
The prices have gone up significantly.
Very much so.
And I think that's tied to your exposing it to the world of these opportunities. Design-wise, there's some beautiful watches.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
What about restoration in the vintage Cartier world?
That's tricky.
What's your opinion there?
There a lot. Here's the thing. These watches are so not waterproof.
Yes.
Less waterproof than this 96. I mean, they're little gold boxes with holes in the side. I mean, it's completely ridiculous that any dial survived at all. And many watches with restored dials or completely new dials sell for crazy pricing. I think a lot of people don't even know what they're buying. There's nothing really published about restoration. I don't know if I would buy a watch 1950s and later that had a restored dial. For those, I'd rather wait for the original one. Anything from 1910 on to 1950, you got to just take what you could find, kind of. I mean, literally, if you look at the production numbers, there's years where they made 40 watches. 40 watches, Cartier, 40 watches.
Incredible.
Insane.
Wow. Do you have a relationship with Cartier officially? Do they invite you to events?
They invite me to events. They've flown me to a few places. I've done the tours, the factory tour, which was unbelievable. But I don't really, it's in terms of getting questions answered about vintage stuff, you have to talk to other collectors and dealers.
Have you seen the Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis Cartier tank with your own eyes?
I have. It's such a great watch. And now it's, Cartier has it again because Kim Kardashian was the winner of the auction. And now Cartier has it again.
I can't officially comment on that watch because I sold it while at Christie's.
Oh, that's right.
But I encourage everyone to listen to Carol Radziwill, who is the seller. of that particular watch recently did a amazing podcast describing the whole backstory. Have you heard that one yet?
No, I haven't, but I need to listen to it.
She goes in great detail about that storyline, and all I can say is no comment, but I'm so glad you're sharing that story, because I think the more that people dig into that watch, they're going to find out, I think, a story behind a vintage Cartier that needs to be told. Heck, it could be a book. There's more to be learned about that watch. So,
and that one particularly has one of the best dial layouts of any vintage Cartier. Like it looks like a stamp, like with the kind of white in between the numerals, like imperfect. Then it has France on the dial. Finding that in the men's version would be very extremely difficult. A lot of people want that watch.
That is an important piece.
Yeah,
but I think it'll stay with Cartier.
Yeah, I would assume so. I don't think they're going to sell.
They're never going to let go
archives.
of that piece. So that's amazing. So you kind of answered this already, but as we wrap up, I want to ask: do you collect with your heart or your head?
I try to do both.
Yeah.
It's hard because when I look at a watch, first I'm looking, do I want this watch? And then I got to remember, I need to make a living also. So is this a watch that makes sense to buy for business? But I still am looking at watches from a collector point of view first. And if it's something really incredible, I don't know what the right example is, but if I found there's like a Cartier signed 96 or something, that's a watch for me. That's a watch I'm keeping.
I think I'd call you. One of those.
That's a watch for me for sure. So I guess it's kind of 50-50, heart, head, and then you got to think with your wallet sometimes as well.
Of course.
Yeah.
What are some details in the world of vintage Patek Philippe that you think collectors are overlooking? Like, we know everyone's obsessing about polishing, dial refinishing. Are there some details when people are assessing whether they should buy a watch that they're missing, especially in the world of Patek Philippe?
I think that you really need to, I wouldn't necessarily say this with Rolex, but you really need to open up a Patek. You need to look at the movement for sure. And I'm not like a big movement guy, as funny as that sounds. But you need to look at the numbers. It's very easy to see if something has a later dial or earlier dial. I mean, I believe on collectability.com, you have the list of movement numbers and the corresponding years. And that can be very helpful because, we know that the final year of the long signature is 47, 48. So if you have a 41 watch as a short signature, something's going on there. And I think a lot of collectors don't even know that.
I'm amazed that there are collectors at a very high level, meaning they have 7-figure watch collections, and they don't even know the difference between a long and short signature.
For sure.
They don't know the basics of movement and case number correspondence. They don't know when it comes to restoration, and the knowledge base is very, very, the level is quite low at the moment with a lot of top collectors. And that's why I'm glad that we have platforms where we're kind of sharing the truth, the reality, and how to assess and study a watch. And I love how when you inspect a watch for the first time, all of the parts tell a story. The pushers will tell a story. The crown will tell a story. The lugs, the hallmarks, all of it has to add up. And the forensic study of watches is one of the greatest pleasures of collecting.
It's very exciting.
Now, you mentioned earlier box and papers.
Yep.
It's not so important to you, but you love it when you find it?
I would say I love it when I find it. I think the example we were talking about earlier was like a 1935 Patek 96. So that's something highly interesting. Also, I think it's less important with Patek because you can get the extracts.
Yes.
So the extracts kind of replace original papers in many instances. But I think the extract is important. I actually think just knowing it will extract is almost more important than the extract itself.
That's true.
If I know that there was an extract at some point, and I know Patek is okay with the watch, that's the most important part. It's not about having the piece of paper, really.
Have you ever bought a watch that you just regretted? Any make?
Of course, yeah, definitely I have. I mean, stuff where you get excited when you buy it or you go too hard at an auction, and then as soon as I've bid at an auction where 10 seconds later I'm thinking, oh God, please outbid me. Someone, because that high lasts a very short amount of time. So yeah, you're like, oh, I got outbid, I gotta bid again. I bid again and no one else is bidding. Like, what did I get myself into? Generally all the watches sell eventually.
Your videos where you are bidding at auction, sometimes you've done them online, but I'm thinking of the one at Doyle's. You're in a trench coat.
Let's open the bidding at $37.50 with your bidders $4,042.
Bidding on the Patek Philippe.
2, and I won them both.
There was like 2 people in the auction room, and you were there.
For sure.
Do the auction houses encourage that type of content, or you just kind of just go for it?
I just go for it. I think in the end, it's good for them.
Yes.
I mean, certainly Philippe, Sotheby's, Christie's like it. And the smaller
It's part
auctions,
of the show. Yeah, like
for sure.
what you did with Phillips with the Journe. I mean,
that one crazy.
That's the content
as well.
everyone wants to see.
Yeah, that one crazy. And I've done videos like that that have completely flopped.
Yes.
That video, it helped that within the first 5 seconds of the auction, somebody screamed out 5 million. So that's what better video hook than that.
And authenticity. I'll come back to that. How should someone vet authenticity in your opinion? And follow-up question, in the world of AI and just like we're all being thrown so much information so quickly, how are things changing?
Authenticity, I don't know. I would think it'd be hard to fool any dealer or any top collector with I mean, do you run into full fake vintage, I guess casebacks you see, but like a fake, have you seen a convincing fake Stern style engraved, like a fake?
You can tell.
Yeah.
There was a fake in Vegas going around the floor. I'm not going to say the reference because I'll identify who had it. If it was real, it was a 7-figure watch. But you could spot
I know the watch. I saw it too, yeah.
And you could spot it. If it was 6 feet away, I'd have a tough time.
Right.
If it was within 2 feet, yes, you could tell by the calendar. Well, I'm kind of giving away calendar apertures.
Yeah.
But then when you look more closely at the hallmarks, you're like, oh, wow, someone went really far.
And also, I believe that one had the exact case number as one that had sold at auction.
It was not, clone's the wrong word. It's like they took the numbers.
Right.
But we don't see many fake vintage watches. Modern, I mean, we talk super clones with Nautilus is a nightmare.
For sure.
Aquanaut, I mean, and they're getting better and better.
Right.
But because of the nuances of vintage Patek Philippe, you don't see it so much. Is that true in Rolex too? Are there clones in the vintage Rolex world? Or maybe cloned parts would be the...
Yeah, I think the bigger issue is fake Tiffany stamps, stuff like that. Like, you know, these added little pad printing that can quadruple the price of a watch is probably very tempting for, you know, a forger. Yeah, of course, there's fake watch for sure. I mean, everyone knows the kind of famous examples, but probably more so in Rolex. And Rolex is so much more widely collected. But yeah, I think it's easy to get away with a fake Cartier stamp or fake Tiffany stamp. I mean, think of how much value you're adding with like the tiniest little cliche print.
And with Patek Philippe, the retailer signatures were offered, especially in the mid-century on. They were added in the United States by Henry Stern Agency.
Right.
So it's tricky.
Very tricky. And then often often it's the top layer above the protective Zapan layer, oftentimes right on top. So
which is the first to flake off.
Exactly. So. And the first thing that's removed, and the easiest thing to remove when cleaning. And so I guess, you know, the retailer signatures are often reapplied, but I guess the story is they're reapplied with exact same pads and cliches as they originally were installed. So it's kind of like a little more acceptable. It's not a newer font necessarily in most examples.
I've been obsessing recently about Swiss on vintage Patek Philippe dials. Because there's discussions of whether different markets might have said Swiss
or Fab Suisse,
Fab Suisse for
just Suisse,
depending on where they were being sold. What's your opinion on that? And have you thought about, when you're looking at a dial, are you looking at the Swiss too?
I do.
And what does it show you?
Well, also the other thing is, even with the engraved enamel dials, the Swiss is often printed.
Yes,
it's printed, so that's going to come off just as easy as
if you breathe on it.
Yeah, just as
or
easy
remove
as
the watch from the case.
The retailer signature. Yeah, I mean, I do think, I don't know, do you think that some dials from the 30s to the 70s left the factory with no Swiss on them?
Yes.
Yes, I think so as well.
And there was a time I was naive where I thought everything had to say Swiss.
Right.
But it's not true, because I've seen pieces that clearly barn find kind of watches that did not have Swiss on the dial.
And I guess they were added at the very end, depending on where geographic location they were going to.
And sometimes only when you uncase it, you find the Swiss on the dial, which is very interesting. Especially with steel cases, I've come across that a few times.
Yeah. Do you believe that every single precious metal vintage Patek has to have 2 hallmarks?
I like to see it.
Yeah,
I like to see it.
Me too, but I've seen examples that one and the one that might, like, for example, one that would be as easy to polish off as the one on the 3940. That one was completely visible on a 40s watch, but the one that'd be on the back of the lug wasn't there, but the watch doesn't look polished. And the one on the back of the lug is usually pretty deep.
Especially in the hand stamped era, sometimes they're so shallow.
Yeah.
That even if it went to a polish room, it's gone. Even wearing it, I've seen that.
Yeah.
A cuff can take off a side hallmark from a Calatrava, for
sure.
example.
Yeah.
So I've seen pieces that most likely unpolished that have lost the hallmark.
Interesting. Yeah.
Just from time.
Yeah.
So
I've seen some incredible watches that really look untouched that have one hallmark. I was like, where would the other one be?
Yeah. I like to see two.
Yeah, me too.
That's where it sits. But you always have to look at the holistic
totally,
story.
For sure.
So, all right, quick fire round.
Okay.
Here we go. Your favorite Patek Philippe caliber?
Tricky. 27 SC maybe.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Is that classic?
Yeah.
Okay. Your dream auction win, or actually, so your dream auction purchase from the past. We'll do that first.
One that
you won, and you're so thrilled you
one that
won.
I have won.
Yes.
Patek Philippe or anything.
Patek Philippe preferred. Okay, anything. So.
Well, the biggest one for me was my Cartier London Tank Normal that I got at a really tiny auction, an auction house that was not on Live Auctioneers, was not on Nouveau, was not on any of the auction aggregator sites. Someone clued me into it, which I really appreciate. And I still paid $40-something thousand for it, but it's probably worth $100 maybe. And it's incredible. And afterwards, the cataloger emailed me and said, "Can you please explain this to me?" Yeah.
Wow.
Really. And it was in the UK, obviously, but and it's maybe the best example that I've ever seen of this watch, and I own it. And it's probably like the one I would sell last.
Well done.
Yeah.
Do you prefer bracelet or strap watches?
Depends on the bracelet. On a 25, 26, I like one of the crazier bracelets. On a 96, even though I have this amazing Gay Frere steel bracelet, I don't mind that. I like them on leather. And I like wearing them tight, I have to say, too.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. There's just something I dislike about the modern watches is how thick and unbendable the new straps are. Like sometimes on a Cartier, like you'll wear it and it'll sit like the tank will sit here and the strap will sit like this on your wrist because the leather is so stiff. I like a lightest, thinnest possible leather strap, and I like kind of pulling it like a tourniquet, believe it or not.
My cutoff though, it's like, especially with modern watches, if I take it off my wrist and I have an imprint of it on my wrist, I don't.
It's a little
like
tricky in weather like this.
Yeah, that's tricky. Yes. So, but I like lighter watches. So, the worst vintage trends in the watch world today, modern or vintage.
Okay, worst trends. I think that there's with like the integrated watches, including with some of the 70s Pateks, I think that I don't often see the integrated, like kind of the geezer watches, kind of let's just say like the AP Mini Cobras and stuff like this. I've never heard of anyone having this watch as their lifetime watch. This very much feels like your 10th watch. And I think a lot of people are going all in on some of these watches. And to me, there's no way these necessarily stick around. Listen, there's definitely incredible examples and some definitely exceptions to the rules. But just like, and also there's a lot of these watches made. And a lot of them, originally we were buying for gold melt value and now are selling for a lot more. I just don't see anyone wearing watches like this for the rest. I'm not talking about like a Midas or something like kind of historically important, but I mean like, I think the APs are probably the best. The APs, Mini Cobras and the Bamboos, I just do not see them. That's not a watch you're going to wear the rest of your life.
Okay. The best New York City dive bar.
I don't drink, so that's tough.
Oh, really?
I can tell you one.
Okay, how about just best New York City hangout?
Scars Pizza, of course.
Scars Pizza? Okay.
Love Scars Pizza. I love Abrazo, the coffee shop on East 7th Street. It's a great, real East Village hangout. Where else? That's all I can think of right now, yeah.
All right. The last song that you DJ'd where the crowd just went wild.
Good question. Wow. I really have to go back because I haven't DJ'd since right before COVID. God, what songs were really going crazy then? Do you know what track I used to play any crowd, any venue was Return of the Mac by Mark Morrison. People love that song. I love it too.
I know nothing about the DJ world, but is there any like what did that teach you as a person? Like, was it more about the technical aspects, the people, the entertainment? I mean, you're talking to someone who doesn't know anything about it.
Right, for sure. It's entertainment.
Okay.
I'd say the technical ability, definitely, people are going to laugh at this, came second for sure in the world that I was in, which was obviously fashion, fairly vapid. Really, you were more of like in the fashion events and a lot of the New York City clubs, you were playing the same 50 songs that most of the other DJs were playing. Okay. And, we're talking about kind of beginning of bottle service and like this type of club. Obviously, you go to a rave or you go, to Bushwick or something, you're obviously hearing very different stuff. But the stuff I was around, the kind of scene I was in, you were playing hip hop during Fashion Week. You were playing kind of like on a fun Sunday night, you could play the Smiths and the Cure and stuff like that. But yeah, I'd say technical ability definitely in my world came second, no doubt. And I think a lot of real DJs would agree.
Is there anything the auction world can learn from the DJ world in terms of entertainment, engagement? And are there any houses doing a better job than the other?
Yeah, you think maybe if you had like an MC instead of an auctioneer, that could be really like a hype man.
Which they do that in the car world.
Oh, it's true. Yeah,
happen. There's the hype guy, like the expertise, and then the auctioneer guy.
You're right.
Person, yes.
I think there's certain auctions that are so boring that you could use an MC just to wake people up.
I just thought it'd be fun. I'd love to do this with you. We go to a Sotheby's auction. They put us in one of the boxes like where no one could hear what we're saying. We just do a commentary of what's happening.
That's actually a great idea. That's not even a joke. I remember when I was screen recording a Monaco Legends auction, and they had auctioned, was it the white gold Cartier bamboo? Like there's 4 of them known, and the yellow one sells for $100 now, and no one knew what this one was going to do. And I recorded a video, not of me bidding, and I wasn't sure if this was a video or not, if this was going to work. It was just me commentating on it as I wasn't bidding, I wasn't participating, I was watching from my computer. And that video did well. And I do think there is, it's like the people, you would have never thought 50 years ago that people are going to be watching videos of people playing poker with commentators.
That's a good point.
I actually think it's not a dumb idea. I actually think it's a very clever idea if you live stream perhaps an auction. The problem is, some of the in every auction, there's a few bad watches. Yeah. If you point that out, sometimes the auction house wouldn't be happy. But yeah, if you're just recording it on your computer and as the stream, I think it's actually a very good idea. I think that you would have more viewers than you think.
I think that there's so much you could teach about the anatomy of an auction, what's really happening. Like I'm just thinking of it this way: when I take a friend to an auction for the first time, I'm sitting in the back, like whispering, like, okay, this is what the phone bidder's doing.
Yeah, for sure.
This is how the chandelier bidding is going, or bidding to the reserve, we'll call it.
Yeah.
There's so many things happening. And then my favorite part is describing like who's making the actual decisions in the room, like who's the pit boss, and who's actually calling the shots. Because you could find the power in an auction room very quickly, and it's a classic follow the money kind of scenario. And then watching the interaction with the audience. So and I was thinking like the DJ world, and you in particular, it's like you're reading the room, and an auctioneer has to keep people's attention in the same way. You as a DJ have to keep people's attention and get them to join the party. And I think a lot of auctions have forgotten about that part.
Yeah, for sure. So. What's funny is if I'm after something at auction, I want it to be boring. I want my competition to be falling asleep. When I'm bidding on like a French auction and it's at like 4 in the morning New York time, that's when I'm like, I hope
you're
everyone's
just gonna
asleep.
Rip it.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah.
One person, living or dead, you'd love to have a quick TikTok video with.
That's such a good question. Oh, that's so tough because I've had a lot of the greats on there. I really need to think about this. Who would be the best? That's such a good question. I'm struggling to come up with the right answer. I mean, I would have said at the beginning, I would have said like John Goldberger or something.
Yes.
I've had him on like 10 times. Yeah. That's a very good question. I just don't have an answer. I don't know. There's a lot of like dream celebs that would be that'd be great. I mean, imagine Michael Jordan. I mean, something like that.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. It's I asked that question to myself for like who would I love to have on this show, and of course for me like Philippe Stern
would just be
a dream come true. but I don't think he is going to do it anytime soon.
You never know.
Hey, you never know.
Yeah.
So do you have any upcoming projects or events that you're focused on in coming up this fall?
Let's see, what's coming up the fall? You have Rolly Fest coming up. I was investigating actually opening an office in New York City with a bunch of other dealers, actually. Maybe something kind of like a vintage exchange.
That's a great idea.
So I've already looked at some really...
To your point of where do you go?
Exactly.
So.
And I was thinking, me and 4 other dealers, a watchmaker, talking to a leather strap maker, because we found kind of an office with a bunch of little offices in between. I don't know if this is going to happen. I hope I don't listen to this.
That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, in a year and think, oh, that never happened. But I think the amount of, it's staggering how many people message me a day asking, I just got to New York City first time, where do I look for watches? And they think I'm BSing them when I say there's really nowhere to go. I'm sure go to Tourneau. I don't know you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But I think if we had a cool, secure space with 5 dealers, leather strap maker, watchmaker, maybe a podcast studio or something, I think any vintage watch person or any watch person coming to New York would stop by 100%. There's nowhere else to go.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I think we're going to see if we can make it happen. I haven't mentioned it anywhere publicly. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Pushers.
Yes.
Pushers.io.
Yes.
Please share with our listeners what it is and your involvement with it.
So Pushers is an app me and my partner, also named Mike, developed. We have about 50 to 55 dealers on there who post their watches. It's a very simple, what you see is what you get platform. And we connect you directly to the dealer. There's no middleman. There's no additional fees. It's not like it's not like on eBay where you message the person, you hope to try to do a deal off eBay. We connect you directly to the dealer. All the dealers are legit. 50 to 55 dealers posting new watches, dozens a day. It's where I sell all my watches. It's a free app. We're about to do a major redesign, so it's going to look better than it looks now. Though,
how is it monetized? The dealer?
We charge the dealers a subscription fee for now. Who knows in 5 years from now? But right now we're charging a subscription fee based on number of listings. The buyer pays nothing. We connect you the buyer directly to the seller. And that's how, because a lot of so many of the watch deals are done wire. I only accept wire. So it's not like you need a fancy payment processing system. And I think even on Chrono 24, if you're doing a big purchase, they want you to do it wire.
Yes.
And most dealers won't take credit cards because of chargeback issues, stuff like that. So I realized this is the reality of the business, is that it's imperfect, but it is you're not going to a gallery and buying $1 million painting on a credit card. You're sending a bank wire. That's the basis of how payment is done in the watch world. And I figured as long as people are comfortable with that, I can connect you directly to the dealer. We don't need a complicated payment system where you're charging a 4% fee or anything like that. I hope I don't regret saying this in 5 years' time when we're charging a fee. But so I think it's like, this is how, if you understand how watch collecting is done, this is how it's done. I think a lot of other eBay, et cetera, they kind of want to scare you a little bit and think, oh, we offer you all this. It's so dangerous. We're offering you all this other protection. When in reality, the odds of getting screwed by a legit dealer is probably pretty low. Even in the dealer chats, which have like, some of the less reputable people or, diamond guys, there's even rules there that you probably are not going to get screwed.
So if collectability posted on Pushers,
yes,
I'm just curious how this works. Because I've looked at the Pushers listing online. I know a lot of our mutual friends that are on it. So I could pick like 10 vintage watches. I could put like my 96 that I just bought, list it, asking price $12,000.
Sure.
And then whoever's looking at the app would contact me directly. Exactly. And then I would do the transaction.
We're about to implement a DM system, but right now it basically can connect via Instagram or via WhatsApp or however you prefer.
Okay.
And you kind of get a little thing that says there's a preloaded message saying that it's coming from Pushers. But after the deal is done, you're doing the deal however you prefer. However, if dealer number 1 wants to take credit cards, they can absolutely do that. Okay. We're not involved with the payment transaction. We're just involved in selecting incredible dealers with incredible watches and matching them with potential buyers.
Have you ever had to kick a dealer off of it?
No, but we've had to delete some listings. I'm pretty specific about what goes on there. But no, we haven't had to kick anyone off yet.
I'm going to take a look at that. Yeah. We might have to talk.
Yeah, I would love for you to be on there.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I would love it.
So we're on Chrono 24. I've never gone to eBay for a number of reasons. But Chrono 24, it's great, but it just keeps getting more complicated, more layered. And recently I sold a modern watch on Chrono 24, and the person purchased the authenticity guarantee.
Right.
And it was sent to a third party.
Yeah.
Who is not someone I really want opening the watch that my master watchmaker just closed.
Right, of course.
And that I don't like that. It's like
I totally agree, and I often think, especially, I mean, this is especially true with Cartier, but how many people do you really trust to fully break down and authenticate a 1940s 130?
Exactly.
How many people in the world are there?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about just a watchmaker who could service something, but who can actually speak well about it, and it could be considered an expert. How many are there? And they're certainly not working for
XYZ.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I get what the eBays and Chrono 24s are trying to do, but there's no one person that's an expert in everything.
For sure. And many experts disagree on certain things.
Yeah, we could debate all day over
For sure,
something.
yeah.
So, all right, I'm going to take a look at Pushers.
Please, we'd love to have you on there.
So where can people find you and follow you?
So TikTok and Instagram, Mike Nouveau.
Easy?
Yep. Pushers, it's an app in the App Store. Android also. Just Pushers or pushers.io. And that's it. Or you can see me in the streets of New York City as well.
New York.
Yeah.
All right. And some closing thoughts on advice for some aspiring content creators in the watch world.
Try to create something new.
Okay.
Don't just do what everybody else is doing. Post consistently. That's really, really important. I posted every day for the first 2 years. Now I kind of take more breaks, but it's really like the more you're out there, the more people that will see you. And try to do something that not everybody else is doing, and respond to all the comments, and don't be afraid to create controversy as well.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much,
Thank
Mike,
you, John,
for joining us today.
Here.
And I want to thank all of you for listening. Please like and subscribe, and I want to make sure you don't miss any of our future episodes. Please comment below. This is John Reardon for Collectability.